Just trying to arrange my screen now so that I can see what everyone is typing. Okay. So last week we spoke about the processes. We spoke about the principles. We spoke about the practices, not processes, practices. We spoke about the practices, we spoke about the principles, and we spoke about the people. Today, part of today, we'll be talking about the people, the processes today. And from there, we will talk about some other things. If we're able to get to that particular side, we'll talk about PMBOK a bit today. Then from next week, we can now start with the practices in detail. Remember, I said when we're talking about the practices, I ran through those practices. I didn't really get into much details about that because practices are what the project manager or a PMO person or an ADM is expected to be doing on a day-to-day basis. So I will be drilling down into each of those from next week. So please don't miss that. And if your MS project is not installed yet, make sure you've got your MS project installed. Make sure you've got your Visio installed as well. Okay, so today we'll be talking about the processes. For the processes, we've got 7 processes that we will be talking about. And the beautiful thing about this is, okay, go ahead, Deji. Are you okay? You dropped your hand already. The beautiful thing about, okay, Deji, go ahead.
Sorry, concerning the MS project, I was just gonna speak on behalf of the team member because we've been having this slight challenge downloading it. We don't know if exactly what we should go for is the paid version, but allow me mention that we could have the what's it gonna I'm trying to remember that the actual word. We could have access. She's got the key for access, but the challenge is having it downloaded is what we have not been able to do. So we wouldn't know if you've got any option for us. It would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
I don't. Who is recording? Can you pause recording, please? Prep Major, can you pause recording? Zakiat, is that something you can do? Okay, don't worry, we'll continue. I'll address that later, JJ. Okay, because what you're asking for is copyright, and because this particular video will definitely be uploaded on stuff, you don't want to talk about that while you're recording. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So we'll talk about that later when the host that is recording is back and we can pause it. I will explain better on what the process is. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the processes. The processes, we've got 7 processes to talk about today. And like I was saying, the beautiful thing about this is I've spoken a lot about these processes already. And a lot of questions were asked while I was talking about it. So we won't really waste much time talking about these processes again today. All right. So it might look blurry somehow to most of us. Okay. But this is where I'll be spending most of my time today to actually take us through each of those processes and what is needed. How many of you can remember that we've gone through something like this before where I told you that, you know what, a project mandate that you prepared, the moment you have that project mandate, the project mandate is given to you by the sponsor, by Deji. Deji will give us a project mandate to say, you know what, the project is, I want you to deploy Office 365, so the 140 laptops in Blue Sky Citadel, making sure that, you know, a publisher, Teams, Word, Excel, PowerPoint are all working properly on those laptops, and Outlook is working properly. So with that, you've gotten the project mandate. So whenever you get the project mandate, what you're expected to do is to get into starting of a project. And starting of what a project mandate, I think it was AIJ that spoke about it, that the mandate will tell you what resources the resources available. So this is what the project mandate is doing. You can see that the first caption there says appoint executive and project manager. So this particular project mandate, that's when we now start up a project, that is now when the inside the mandate we will see who exactly is the appointed project manager is. And for some of us, for most of us that submitted the project mandate to Olawumi, that I gave them to myself, I went through it and I could see that yes, most of us are appointed project managers as yourself within the mandate. That is exactly what that mandate will tell you. It will tell you who the project manager is. Like you could see, the project mandate also spoke about the project sponsor. And sometimes it will tell you who the senior user or the senior supplier are, or who are the management, who will be the management when it comes to your project. Okay. Also, within your starting up a project, you need to start capturing previous lessons learned. You need to start saying, okay, previously on this particular project, what are the lessons learned in the past? What are the lessons learned in the past? And you want to start thinking about that, and you want to start looking at that to give you an idea of what your project will be all about, or what are the pitfalls, what are the great lessons, or the mountains you need to climb in order for you to do. What are those opportunities that you can enhance, exploit, or accept on the project. You will always see all of that whenever you're capturing your previous lessons learned. And that is why one of the documents that you want to start up doing from the start to the finish of a project is your lessons learned. And I think someone was asking me that when exactly do you initiate a lessons learned document? I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Or when do you start documenting your lessons learned? Or when do you start using your lessons learned log and all that? You start using your lessons learned log from the start of a project. From the start of a project, that is when you want to start doing that, because there will be some lessons learned in the past that you need to document on your project, on your own lessons learned document. That is what you need to do. Then you now need to start designing and appoint the project management team. Okay, you need to start appointing your project management team to understand, okay, what work needs to be done, and all of that. I would definitely need the person behind the prep major handle to be present, because I will be pausing, because I'll be sharing some some documents on my screen, and I would definitely need a pause because some of those documents are copyright, they are sensitive document for the organization. Okay, so when you do that, then one of the things you want to do again is you want to prepare your outline business case. You want to prepare your outline business case. When you're preparing your outline business case, at this point, you're not preparing a detailed business case. You're just preparing the outline, making sure that you know what things are well captured when it comes to what's the viability, how we're going to measure viability, how we're going to measure feasibility of this particular project. How are we going to measure who is doing what, or what are the benefits and all that. We will definitely be capturing all of these. And the next thing you want to do is you now want to select your project approach. What exactly is the project approach we need to do on this particular project? And also assemble the project brief. You now need to start creating your project brief. Project brief is a document that is just telling you a brief of what the project is. That's tautology, right? It's easy, just straightforward, of what that project is, meaning it's now going more detailed than the project mandate. Going into more detail than the project mandate at this point to now tell you a lot of things about, okay, what are the key risks? What are the key issues that we might encounter? Who are the people? What are the key deliverables and all of that on this particular project? That is when you now start preparing your project brief. at this point. And with that, you now get ready to initiate or plan for the next stage that you're going to, which is the initiating of a project. Yes, Fumi, go ahead.
I believe that yourself and Zakiat should be able to stop the recording because you're both co-hosts.
I've checked it and I am not sure I can do that.
So behind Prep Major, it should be allowed.
Okay. Yeah, because it's group, so is a chief host that can actually do that now.
Okay, I'll give
Because
a
this is being
ring.
recorded. This is being recorded to the cloud,
Okay.
not to the laptop. So that's the reason why.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. No problems. So that is that. So when we talk about starting up a project, what are the things that will come out of starting up a project? Okay. Remember, we said our so that means the first thing that needs to come out is a project team, roles descriptions. We need the role descriptions of the project team at this point. Meaning, we're saying that we're appointing executive and a project manager. What exactly will be the role of the executives? What will be the role of the the project managers as well? So we want to understand all of that. So we need to make sure that all of that are documented. Don't forget that one of the principles of Prince 2 says, define roles and responsibilities. So at this point, we want to start making sure that roles and responsibilities are well defined. Okay, I've got a guest in my office. Give me 1 minute.
Daddy? Yes? Why?
All right. So we've got roles and responsibilities written out. After that, we want to have the project management team structure. How do we want to structure the team? And that's what you have in the third box there that says design and appoint the project management team. You're designing and appointing who the project management team is, and that means you want to start creating what the structure will be. Please, if any, can someone ping allow me, because I really want to use a slide to doing. This is what that's what you'll be doing. That's what this person needs to do. We need to make sure that all of this is documented and someone is following through, making sure that we're doing what is expected of us to do. Then at this point also, we will get out what we call the outline business case. At this point also, if it's possible for us to get a product description, what exactly is the description of a product we're trying to get, we will get it out. We'll get a project approach out. I will intend to approach this particular project like the slide I showed you. It could be a Word document. It could be a Word document, a PowerPoint document, or Excel spreadsheets. Just like the project mandate I ask you to submit. I like the fact that somebody submitted Excel spreadsheet. Who is the person? It's just a framework. Interesting. Okay. So we've got the project brief as well. And that's just the 2 homework we're having today. I mean, no, 3. We're having three homework. We're developing the what? What's the first thing I said we need to develop?
Design your RISI.
Okay, design a RISI. Thank you very much. Design a RISI for the project. Develop a project brief, and also design a lessons learned log for this particular project. It's an individual project. It's an individual homework. So we're designing a daily lessons learned log. We're designing a RISI for the project, and also we're creating a project brief for the project. So the moment we have all of these artifacts developed and we understand what a team structure is and all of that, we can now take a request to the project board that was appointed here. The project board that we appointed at this point. Where is my pointer? The project board we appointed at this point in time, they are the ones forming this purple stuff, or lilac stuff you're seeing there, as the people directing the project. So the moment we have all of these artifacts done, we've got our project brief, we've got our outline business case, we know what the project approach is and all of that. All we need to do is take it to them and request for, okay, we've got all of this documentation on our project as we will be developing those stuff this coming week, developing most of these things this coming week. We can have those documents. We take it to the project board, and we'll say, project board, this is what we have. We've gotten our outline business case. We've gotten our project brief. I think the project is worth doing based on the initial outline we've done so far. And the moment we take it to request to initiate a project, then they will authorize a project. When they authorize the initiation process, or they say, yes, you can go ahead to the next stage, then we now need to start proper work. Now the project has been initiated. Now we need to do what we call a kind of kickoff meeting to actually kick off the project. And at this point, we can now say, you know what? Let us agree on how we intend to tailor these requirements to fit our Prince 2 methodology. Okay. After that, we can now start preparing what exactly is our risk management approach. How do we want to approach the risk on this particular project? What is, and we'll be talking more into that detail. It was Ian was taking us into that particular point when he was talking about, you know what, the probability of occurrence, the impact if it should happen, what are the risks of high impact, what are the ones with medium impact, what are the ones with low impact. These are the things we want to start declaring in our risk management approach. In our risk management approach. And this is one of the reasons why I really want us to get all of those, that book out, because by the time I'm talking about most of these things, you can understand what I'm talking about. Then I can now explain it better in class because you've got the kind of foundational understanding from the book. So here, what we're trying to do here basically at the initiation stage is to develop all our approaches, all the approaches we will think we'll be using within the project. Our resource management approach, this is where we will think about it. Some will call it strategy, some will call it plan. So our risk management plan or risk management approach or risk management strategy is at this point also that we'll prepare the quality management approach. Is at this point also that we'll prepare the change control approach. We'll prepare the communication management approach. How do we want to communicate? What is the approach we want to use? Who are the stakeholders within this particular project? Who do we need to communicate to using emails? Who do we need to communicate with setting up a meeting? Who do we need to communicate with using a phone call? Because don't forget that on your project there will be diverse kind of people. Okay, you might have visually impaired people. You might have, you know what, all sorts of people on your project. And someone that is visually impaired that is on your project, you don't want to send an email to such person. You want to make sure that, okay, what we've identified stakeholder B, and we were saying that this stakeholder B will always call stakeholder B for us to give the stakeholder B all the information, the progress report on this particular project. We can say, you know what, based on the program director, a typical example is, I'll tell you, my program director is a busy guy. If I want to get anything out of my program director, if I send an email, trust me, I won't get a response until after 2 days. So, but he's very good with his IM because his IM is on his phone, his Teams is on his phone. All I do is I just hire him. I just hire him the guy straight because the guy is looking after close like 12 different projects or 10 different programs, 2 projects, 10 programs. So he's always very busy. Different emails coming from everywhere. But the moment I ping him on his IM, I ping him on Teams, he's got Teams on his phone, he will respond almost immediately. So with that, I understand that, this particular person, I understand the need of that particular stakeholder. That is what we're talking about, the communication management approach. Who do we need to communicate to? On this particular project, do we need to send a newsletter out to all the neighbors? this particular project of our 140, whatever, do we need to send a mail out to all the users, all the 140 users of those laptops that, you know what, we will be taking over your laptops at some point, where we want to push that Office 365 onto your laptop, or at first we'll be doing a kind of analysis on your laptop to make sure that your laptop is capable of accepting the Office 365 when we're pushing on your laptop. So we're saying that, you know what, on this particular day, on Monday from 10 to 12, there is a blackout or there is a freeze on whatever you're doing. You want to make sure that all of these particular communications are well documented. The approach is well documented and how we want to go about it. Prepare your change control approach. How do you want to go about your change control? So while we're doing the initiation of a project, all of our approaches must be well documented. And what are the artifacts we must come out with when we're doing that on a project? We have to come up with the project controls, the risk management approach. We need to come out with a risk register. Okay, now we need to come out with a risk register to start documenting all of the risk that might come up on the project. So you want to make sure that that is well documented as well. Develop your risk register on the program, and because risk will start. All you're doing at this point in time, you might not be doing your risk analysis. You might not be, even though you have your risk management approach written out, you might not be doing all of that, but you want to make sure that your approaches are well documented. You want to make sure that, you know, at this point in time as well, the business case is now refined. You're now having a kind of detailed business case, refining your business case, having a detailed business case, updating it. At this point also, you want to make sure that, you know what, your quality management approach is well documented, your quality register is well documented, looking at all the criteria that are needed to be in there. You also want to make sure that, you know what, your change control approach is well written to say, you know what, this is how, and one of the things we'll be doing when we get our Visio, Visio, when we get our Visio, Microsoft Visio, is to document a process of change control, and you will be the one designing that. You will design a change control approach with your Visio to say, you know what, when a project manager raises a change, the change will go through this particular place, the change will go through that particular place and that particular place and that particular place. If that is approved, then it goes through that. We will definitely be talking more about that, and you'll be expected to document all of that approach when we get there. Okay, configuration item records. Here we're talking about, you know what, SharePoint. How many of you have used SharePoint in the past? You've used SharePoint before. Okay, Daniel. All right, for me, awesome. Yeah. So sometimes sometimes it might not even be SharePoint. Sometimes you can use your Google Docs. Sometimes you can use your Google Space workspace. Sometimes you can use Jira or Confluence. Some people use Confluence for documentation, but the one that is everywhere and in the face of everybody, all because of the synchronization with the Office tool, is Microsoft. Is SharePoint. That was why I asked about SharePoint, and I can show us a sample of that next week as well. When we get to communication and documentation, I'll show us the one I use for my organization as well. So we have business case, a detailed business case. That's the 11th artifact you're producing at this point in time. Then you're gonna have a subset of your business case. Sometimes it's always what we call the business, the benefits management approach. So your benefit management approach is expected to be documented. What are the benefits? How do we want to realize benefits? Is it after the project that the benefit will be realized? Some projects, you realize your benefits almost immediately. Some project, even while the project is ongoing, you're realizing your benefit, while some it is after 10 years that the project has been delivered, or 5 years after the project has been delivered, that the benefits will start showing up. Okay, so you want to document all of that. And also you want to update. At this point, you've got more clarity of what the roles and responsibilities will be, or an updated RECI. You want to start updating. You want to update that. You want to update the team structure as well. Then you want to create all of the things, all of these 1, 2, 3, 4 to 14 are all subset of what we call the project initiation document. So all of your approaches, all of your strategies, all of your plans are all subset of what we call the project initiation document. That is why you could see it say assemble the project initiation document, because all of these things is what you're gathering together that will now form what you call the project initiation document that I call the project Bible. Some also can call it project management plan. Okay, where you have all the plans you want to use in getting your project from start to finish. Okay, after that, after you've gotten your PID, you now need to take your PID to the project board up here again to get authorization. Okay, to get authorization. Don't forget that while you're doing this, you're doing your lessons learned log, you're documenting your lessons learned log, your number three and number 4, or number 3 and number 4 are getting updated as well, because it's the project, both the daily log, both the lessons learned log, because while you're documenting all of these, some lessons will be coming up, some actions will be coming up. So you want to make sure that that is documented as well, and you're taking that to the project board to request for approval. So your PID get approval. So all of these things and all of these arrows that are going up are what we call the go or no go decision. So at this point where you get here, when they look at your stuff, if they are comfortable, they will say, yes, you can proceed to initiate a project. By the time you get here, if they're not comfortable with what you have in here, they will tell you, no, we're not comfortable. Your PID is not well detailed. It's a no for us. It's a no-go for us. Can you please make sure it is well detailed so that we can proceed to the next level? So you go to them again, and they give you the green light to say, yes, it's a go. The way they tell you it's a go, then you can now start managing the project itself. Okay, we can now start managing the project. We can now start doing what the work should be at this point. But at this point as well, what you're doing at this point is, don't forget, before you can move from initiate a project, you need to make sure that that particular boundary is well managed, because you're moving from a boundary of initiating a project into now doing the work, controlling a stage of doing the work itself. So at this point, you want to make sure that, you know what, all your documents, you update your project plan, because you've now gotten approval to proceed to the next level. You've gotten approval to proceed to the next level. You want to make sure that, okay, now let us now have a detailed plan. Let's sit down, let's have a detailed plan. What you have here might be an high-level plan, but now you're not saying, let's have a detailed plan. Let's produce an exception plan on this particular project. And that is why you can see that there seems to be overlapping, because as you're doing that, the work definitely will start. You can now start escalating your issues, reporting how the project is going. You can now start taking corrective actions, authorizing work packages, and as you proceed on the project. Question for me, go ahead.
You said create an exception plan. What's that?
Okay, exception plan. Who can remember when I spoke about we manage by exception? One of the principles of Prince 2 says manage by exception. Who can explain what that is to us? Then we can use that to answer Fumi's question. Who can remember what I said during that period? Hey, don't fall my hand, people.
I think I can try.
Okay, go ahead, Nena.
Okay, if I recall, I think you said something about I think you used the financial to explain it. You said there's a level that the project manager can be given some authorization to approve some certain amount and then something like that. I think that was what you said in the last class. That's managing by exception. That's approval alone. So he's given an authorization to manage a certain limit, and that limit already makes it an exception because he's given that approval. I don't know. I think that was what I heard in the last class. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any addition to what Inena said? Guys, don't fall my hand now. Okay, Inena is absolutely correct, 100% correct with what she said. When you're making an exception, when you're making an exception plan for me, what you're trying to say that, you know what, on this particular project, we will be giving an exception to the project manager to say, you know what, if approval for his approval, anything that is below £2,000, the project manager can go ahead and approve it. But if it's more than £2,000, then it needs to come to that purple box. It needs to come to the purple box to come and get approval. We can say if your project is slipping by 1 day, okay, Mr. Project Manager, don't worry, go ahead. You don't have to come to the purple box to get approval for that. Okay, so that is what we're saying when we talk about exception plan. There will always be an exception to the work that a project manager is doing to make sure that the project manager can carry out some of this work without always coming to the purple box upstairs to get approval. Does that make any sense now?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So after we've gotten that, but while controlling stage is going on, products will be delivered. So we need to make sure that, you know what, we're managing the product delivery process as well. The product delivery process is saying, no, let's accept a work package, let's execute a work package, let's deliver a work package. So within your project plan, there's something we call the WBS. There's something we call the work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure is you breaking down the work to be done into more manageable components. And those manageable components are called work packages. Okay, like a typical example is we can have our Office 365 deployment. We can say, you know what, deployment of Word document is a work package. Maybe that's the first thing we want to push. What document is the first thing we need to push to those laptops, as against pushing the whole thing and it's crashing or it's not working well. Let's say, you know what, let's test it. Let's plan it. Our first work package is the Word document. Is a Microsoft Word. So let's push Microsoft Word. And when we push Microsoft Word, that is now acceptable. Accept the work package. We've accepted that work package. We are executing that. Is what we want to do. And now we're delivering that word that we want to do. Okay, that is what we're not saying. We're not managing that product delivery, while at the same time we are controlling what is happening within that stage. That is why you can see it's going up, it's coming down, it's going up, it's coming down, it's going up, it's coming down. So when a project manager approves to say, okay, Microsoft Word is what is approved, that gets picked up by the team manager. So controlling stage, the project manager authorizes work package. The team manager picks up, accepts that particular Microsoft Word deployment. We'll execute that management Word deployment. It will get delivered. When it gets delivered, we come back to the project manager or the quality assurance guy to say, you know what, we've delivered this. Can you come and check it to say, you know what, indeed we've delivered that. So that work package, configuration items, and all of that. When we deliver that, then we move. After delivering that, then we move to the next. We come back, to manage stage boundary. If that is a stage, if we're saying that Microsoft Word deployment is a stage, if it's a stage, we come back to the stage boundary. But if it's not a stage, then we continue doing that until we get to a stage where we've put in our project, saying, you know what, this is a stage that we need to get a go or no go decision on. By the time we get there, we come back to managing stage boundary. We'll see what is happening. Is it a go or a no go for us? If it's a go, we go back into the green box to continue the work that we're doing. We manage product delivery. If it's fine for us that the work has been delivered within the team has delivered the work, we go back to the project manager, we go back to manage the stage boundary, we keep coming back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll always keep coming back until what the work is done, then we go back to the POPL, we authorize the POPL, we get authorization to proceed to the next stage, or proceed to the next stage, and all of these are done. All the work are done according to what was in our PID is being done, or what is in our plan is done. Then we can now say, you know what, now at this point, we need to close out our project at this point. Okay. Any question with all of my jargons tonight? Ask questions, please. I'm trying to look for Prince2 templates on my other laptops. Unfortunately, I can't find them. Questions, I'm waiting for questions tonight, please. I know 9 to 11 is tiring after a long day at work and all that. I know that, but please. Let's respond. I'm waiting. I won't continue until I have questions. So start thinking of questions, guys. All right, go ahead, IJ.
Thank you for the intense. This is so intensive, you know. But my question is it at every stage of the project that they do control and the testing or the quality? You
Yes.
understand?
No, it's dependent on, so IJ, it's dependent on what you factored in your project plan or your approach. Okay, your quality approach. If in your quality approach you have it there to say, you know what, at the delivery of every of these deliverable, we need to bring in the test guys to come and test, and we need to bring in the quality assurance to come and do this. Then you have to follow that procedure. If that was what was agreed, or that was what was approved by the POPL guys, then you need to stick to it. If what was approved by the POPL guy is, you know what, we need to make sure that everything is delivered before we can call in the QA guys to come and do their work, then we need to wait till then. So it's all about how you are factored in the approach within your project. And this is what Prince2 is saying. There is no stringent or there is no firm way of doing it. It is what, just tailor it to what is applicable to your own project.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome. Any question from anybody? Ask questions, people.
I have my hands up. Good evening, everyone, and thank you.
Good evening.
I want to ask, because based on this answer you gave now,
yes,
it seems to me like Prince2 kind of has a lot of characteristics with Agile. Because
absolutely. Remember, I said this. Sorry to Virgin. I said this earlier on. I said I want to believe. I really, really want to believe that managing stage boundary was what actually gave birth to Agile.
Okay, because I literally going to make my conclusion like Prince2 is Agile. It seems to me like it's an Agile methodology as well, but maybe slight differences, but I don't know. So I just wanted to confirm that. So based on what you've said now, I think I have my answer.
All right, no problems. Yeah, I want to believe that this is what gave birth to Agile, really, because for them, they are saying that, you know what, you need to make sure that everything is staged. Okay, so that you don't just go through the project and at the end of a project there are faults and you can't control things anymore.
So you can't say Prince2 is Agile.
I'm not gonna say Prince2 is Agile so that the Agile people will not shoot me.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks. Prince2 is not Agile.
I told you they will come out for me, so I won't make that mistake. Okay, go ahead, Ian.
Yes, I'm just following up on the same question. On the project you're working on, the Angola and the one in France.
Yes.
Are you using Agile or Waterfall or Agile? On what basis do you decide which framework you want to use? If I can ask.
Okay. a very good question, and I will answer in a very funny way, and is we're not using either PMP or PMBOK or Prince2 fully like that. And I can tell you categorically that a very few organizations, very few organizations follow Prince2 methodology in the UK to letters. Very few. Okay, and I'll tell you the reason why I said that. The project I'm working on, we've got PID on this particular project, yet we've got project charter on this particular project as well. Okay, and we've got what we call the PDD. We've got a project delivery document. And project delivery document is for APM. You won't even see it mentioned in Prince2 or PMBOK. Okay, so it is what is convenient, is what is comfortable for us in the organization that we're just picking and we're using for our project. But we are making sure that we are following the project management methodology of you making sure that a project is initiated, a project is planned, and a project is monitored and controlled while a project is executed while you're monitoring and controlling it as well. And at the end of the day, we're making sure that a project is closed out. Okay, so the documentation within those phases or within those processes is now left to what is convenient for us to use within the organization. You can see that that's a very funny answer. So like I said, in most organizations, I've worked in an organization before where, you know what, we created a project mandate, and from the project mandate, we moved into the project brief, and from the project brief, we moved into the project management plan. Meanwhile, for Prince2, you move from mandate to project brief into PID, and we never created PID in that particular on that particular project. We created project management plan immediately. So you can see that it's a mixture of what Prince2 is and a mixture of what PMBOK says, because that is what is convenient for us to use within that organization at that point in time. Okay. Now come back to the question you asked about whether it is Agile, whether it is Agile or traditional waterfall. Okay, now for that particular project, so I've got MVP1, I've got MVP2 and all that. For that particular one of the projects, I've got a Agile approach where we collected requirements. After we collected the full requirement, we went into the design. At the design stage and the build stage is what we're going back and forth. Even though for the design stage, we actually completed the design and made sure we got a sign off on the design. The reason why we got a sign off on the design is because, like I said, it's a funny project where we have 3 organizations. Okay, we have my organization is delivering the project for the organization. So for us to be wary of unnecessary changes that will incur cost and the customer will not pay us, or the customer changing that scope and not paying us, we have to say, you know what, after a design, we will lock the design. But if it was Agile, you don't lock a design, you keep on going back and forth with the customer to make sure that the customer is satisfied. But at this point in time, we need to protect our own side of the whole contract. So we said, no, we're not proceeding to building until you agree that this is what we need to build during the design stage. So it was agreed, and the moment it was agreed, we locked the design. The moment we lock the design, if you want to make changes to the design, then we need to make changes to the contract. You have to pay more money to say you're the one changing this. So therefore, there's an additional money for that change, for that particular scope to be added to this particular project. Okay, so at that point in time, you can't say that is Agile. We're not Agile like that. We're just strictly waterfall. So by the time we finish locking the design and we move into the build stage, it's now at the build stage that we're not trying to use. We're trying to be Agile a bit. Agile in the sense that, you know, we'll go back to the customer. Is this what you've agreed in your contract that we should build? We go back, we go back, we go back, we go back, instead of us finishing the build before we can call them and say, you know what, this is so. We during the build stage, we made the build stage a kind of an agile kind of a thing to say, you know what, let's go back, let's come, let's go back, let's come, let's go back, let's come, until we're able to finish the build and then go into deployment. Then after deployment, while we're doing the build is where we're incorporating the test as well. We do the build and the test together. Then after we're done all of that, then we now do a kind of SAT, the system acceptance testing, to do everything. Then we move into FDR, final dress rehearsal. Then we move into cutover. Then we move into the full deployment, which is within the cutover is the smoke test to just see how it behaves. Then we deploy, we go live. After going live, we now do a kind of hypercare or what you call the early life support. Go ahead for me.
How are you able to actually lock the design? What's the process? And how were you able to let them agree that, okay, it's going to be locked?
It's a simple contract. What does the statement of work says? The statement of work that was designed at the start of a project says, you know what, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 things are what we will build for you, are what we will design for you. And the moment that statement of work is signed and agreed, that is exactly what we're working on. So it's a roundtable thing. We pass it to them, they review it, they pass it to us, we review it, we pass to them, we review. It took, I'm not even going to lie to you, this particular one we're doing, we've deployed some other countries in the past. I was telling you guys last week, we've deployed some other countries in the past, but this particular one we are on at the moment is taking us 6 months for us to actually lock the scope down. We just locked the scope last week. That was why the kickoff was on Monday. So it was a back and forth, agreeing, and that was when we were able to lock the scope, because they say, okay, it's 3 vessels. It's 3 vessels we need to do. On that 3 vessels, we've got over 150,000 POs. Meanwhile, initially they said it was 100, but when they did their check again, they discovered 120, and at the end of the day, we saw that it was 150. So we say, you know, at this 150, we're locking it down. So when we locked it down to 150, if we now go back and we found it to be more than that, then they need to pay more money for us to do all of that. Okay, so we're saying, so for them, they're saying 150, let's lock it down at 150. It was locked down at 150. And we're saying for for other scope as well, for other things that need to be done, 3 vessels, lock it down at 3 vessels. If there's an extra vessel and they want us to do, that is extra money. From our side, from the project management point of view, because my company is the one that is handling the project management side of it for them, deploying all of that for them. So this is how we were able to lock the scope. We're doing back and forth for a while. Make sense? Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problems. Any other question from anybody?
Sorry, Ayo, and during all these processes, there is always like a feedback back to the people in purple.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Like, in form of documentation.
Yes.
Like what is the interval?
These are the people you're getting approval from. Don't forget.
Okay, okay. So the interval of the feedback, is it every day, like weekly, or
no, not at all. Not at all. It's not gonna be every day. These guys are quite busy, so it will be like my own project is once a month. This is what we call the project board. It's once a month. But if you need approval, they are always available as ad hoc. You can do email approval, copy all of them to say, you know what, is it possible you review this document, because I can't wait to the next project board meeting or project steer co meeting, which is end of the month. So we've got 3 weeks to the next project board meeting. Unfortunately, this particular ask can't wait. Is it possible you review this and give me an offline approval? Okay. So they all look at it and they give you offline approval.
Okay. But if do they have the possibility, like after the project mandate has been given, is there any possibility of changes?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is why this box.
That's during the process of the project.
Yeah,
they
this is why
make
this box is there.
changes?
Yes, this is why this box is there. This box says what? Prepare the change control approach.
Okay.
So you now want to prepare the change
Okay.
control. Remember, I told you earlier on to say, you know what? There is no way that a project will go 100% as planned. There will always be change or changes. Okay?
Okay.
The
Okay.
process of you accepting that change and implementing that change is now where the problem will lie. Okay? On every project, there must be a change control process to say, okay, the customer A, Femi, has asked for this particular change on this project. Okay, you request for that change. When you request for that change, let me see, I've got a change process somewhere. Yeah, that's the change process. Let me show you a change process. This is a change process. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, the one from University of Chicago. You can see that the project team will create change request form. So there's a change, submit change control request, and any supporting documents such as a development change from the the project SharePoint and notify project team. So you can see they've created a change. They've created a change to say, you know what, we would like to add 100 more POs to the scope of work to be done. Okay, now that get logged. That will get logged into the change control log. When it get logged, it needs to be reviewed by the people are requesting for the change. More information needs to, what will be the impact on duration? What will be the impact on resources? What will be the impact on cost? Okay, all of this needs to be documented on that. Does this change request need work? If it's a no, then decision further escalation. Does it need further escalation? If it's a yes, then you have to go and rework it. That means there is no more, you as a PMO person, you're looking at a change request and you're saying, you know what, this is not clear. There's no clarity in this. There's no clarity in this. There's no clarity in this. Can you please put more information on this, your change request? So you're asking them to put more information on their change request. This is what I said. I'll definitely want you guys to design for me on a Visio when you get your Visio and all that. So if it's a yes, then decision require further escalation. You can see you are now taking that decision to the purple guys. The purple guys are these executive sponsors, right? Or the project sponsors. You're taking it to the executive sponsors' final decision. They're not saying that, okay, yes, all right, we've agreed that we should have the 100 POs to the project because it's needed. We've agreed that it's going to cost £100,000 more, okay, and it's going to delay the project by 5 more days. So approved. So the moment that is approved by these guys here, okay, you now want to go and update your change log, and you now want to communicate the decision to the team to say, you know what, this particular change has been approved. All right, can we now adjust or update the project plan to add the 5 days to that? Can we also adjust our project cost to add the £100,000 to it? So you can now see that at this point in time, everything gets rebaselined. The project plan that was 40 days before is now 45 days. It gets rebaselined. So this is now the true point where we are now measuring our performance with the 45. The 40 days and all of that, that is now rubbish. Okay, because we've now gotten a new approval and a new baseline to the project that needs to be done. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, it does.
All right, go ahead for me.
Okay, so I'm just I don't even know if I should say I'm a bit confused because my understanding is that Prince 2 is uses the waterfall traditional methodology. So
Yeah.
I was thinking that when you're talking with regards change control, whether change control is the same thing as change request, and if that is the case,
Yeah.
would this obviously like if there's a change request within, because it's looking like this change request is occurring within the project, I would
Yes.
have presumed that the change will be done at the close of the project. So that's why I'm a bit confused.
No,
Because
you don't wait. You don't wait at the end of a project to do the change. The change starts the moment the project starts. The moment the scope is locked, then changes start.
So what you're basically, because it's okay.
So I understand where you're coming from. Yes, it is still waterfall. It is still waterfall, and you're looking at. But this is what Agile was saying. Yes, this is what Agile is saying, and that's why I say, you know what, because waterfall has been here for years. Okay, so Agile is just trying to look at the weakness of waterfall and just pick the weakness of waterfall and modify it to say, you know, why not let us make it a methodology? Does that make any sense? But within a waterfall, trust me, you don't want to wait. It doesn't make any business sense for you to wait till the end of a project before you make changes. No, as a project is progressing, you can make your changes, but just make sure that your change is going through the change control process and is getting approved, and you're updating your
documents, because I'm just thinking that you would have to like update your project plan, your risk.
Yes, you have to keep updating. Yes, you have to keep updating. At the moment things get approved, you need to go and update.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome. I saw someone.
Adenike.
Yeah, so Adenike.
Yeah, I had my hand up, but you kind of answered it because I was also having that confusion she had.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but you answered it kind of, because my own understanding before was like similar to hers, like change is not implemented till the end of the project, which is one of the reasons why Agile came to life. Yeah. But based on what you've said now, I've kind of understand it now. You can have change implemented during the project, within the project. So it's kind of accepted to do your change here. So I get it now, kind of, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Okay.
Just make sure you're going through the change control board. Okay. All right. Any other questions tonight?
Thank you.
Welcome. So if you check your Telegram, page for the PM ADM, I've uploaded close like 20 documents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
26 actually.
26 documents. Okay, I've uploaded 26 documents for your use. That's the Prince2, that's a Prince2 template that you can use from start to finish of a project. Okay, so you can see your risk register, lessons learned log, project brief template, project mandate, work packages, and all that in there for your use. So enjoy and use it anyhow you want to use it. All right, Tommy, go ahead.
Thanks so much for the knowledge you've impacted. I was just wondering, what is a typical day like in the day of
the life of a project manager?
Yeah.
Right? Confusion. I'm just kidding.
You are scaring me more.
Just kidding. It's so the typical life of a project manager, or the typical day of a project manager, is to bring order to a chaotic environment. Okay, that is a typical day of a project manager. A project manager is more like a babysitter. Okay, and that's what Scrum Masters don't like doing as well. Okay, a project manager is that guy that comes to say, you know what, how do I manage this team to achieve success? How do I bring the solution architect? How do I bring the BA to work with the solution architect? How do I bring the solution architect to work with the DevOps guys? How do I bring the DevOps guys to work with the testers? How do I bring the testers to work with the cutover guys or the deployment lead in order for us to make sure that we are achieving what we need to achieve? How do I make sure that the resources that is needed for the tester or the DevOps guys is readily available? So that guy is just there at the center of everybody, pulling everybody together, making sure that everyone is doing what they need to do. And that was why, I said it earlier on the first day during the teaser, or is it the second day, a second lecture now, that a project manager is not expected to be technically inclined. And I think it was Adedeji that was doing his presentation and gave us those 3 key points, or those 3 key skills that a project manager is expected to have. So as a typical day of a project manager is to make sure that, you're able to document very well what is being done. you're able to make sure that the plan of A, B, C, D, E, F can come together. You can put all of your plans together and make it make sense. Okay? A might not be able to make sense of what B is doing, but it is now your responsibility to bring all of A, B, C, D, E, F together and make it make sense that, you know, everybody can see it and can run with it. Just like the process I shared, the change process I shared with you now, as a project manager, your responsibility is to make sure that that is explained to everybody, because a testing guy just want to come, pick up the test scenario, just get into testing whatever you said, what the criteria, what the test scenario is, what the criteria is, what is the definition of acceptance and all that. That is what they want to do. For you, you need to make sure that the test scenario is well documented for the tester, from the business guys to the tester, to make sure that everything is understandable by them, and also making sure that the acceptance criteria that they've listed for the tester is being fulfilled and is being checked by. So as a project manager, you're there to make sure you're coordinating, you're speaking, you're making sure that everyone is communicating with each other, and you're making sure that result is being gotten and all the listed deliverables are being delivered. That is your job.
Thank you.
Still confusing? Honestly, it sounds like it is like it's chaos. Now, yeah, there will always be chaos. There will always be chaos, and you're just there to make sure that things are well planned. And the moment you have plans in place, the moment you can get.
Ayo.
Yes, Tommy.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Tommy.
No, it's not me. It's someone else.
Oh, okay. So the moment you can have all of your plans in place, and you can make sure that everybody agrees to the plan. Agree to the plan, and you can make sure that you get the buy-in of a team, because that is what you need to always do. Don't take sides as a project manager on your project. Never take sides. Make sure you're removing all the impediments, all blockers from everybody, making sure that everyone is comfortable and all that while speaking. And with that, success is yours as a project manager.
And this applies to all industries, right?
This applies to almost every industry.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Go ahead, Adenike.
I wanted to ask you, as a project manager,
yes,
do you delegate tasks to your project team? Unlike Scrum, where you cannot literally delegate tasks, they assign tasks to themselves. So in project management, do you do that, or is it the same thing? They have to assign tasks to themselves, or you actually delegate tasks to the project team?
So this is where your RACI comes in. Don't forget, in your RACI, we have a defined roles and responsibilities already in the RACI. Yeah. We have the key activities that we're saying that, you know what, you are the one responsible for this. You are the one accountable for this. Okay, so in the RACI, we have a RACI. That's why Prince will tell you a defined roles and responsibilities. You get, so it is well defined. We know what A is doing. We know what A is doing. We know what we've assigned to A in our RACI. Okay, and within that RACI, the guy has agreed that yes, truly, I'm the one delivering this. So the moment you agree that you're the one delivering this, and there is a sign off on that RACI, there's no going back. You don't need to pick. You don't need to say, you know what? No, I'm tired of this one. I want to go and do that one. No, we've agreed on RACI. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Any other question from anybody?
Yeah, I wanted to know the tool that we use in project management, is it the Project MS alone?
No. We don't. So project MS project is just for planning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. The MS project is just for planning. It has just one tool out of many. Okay.
So what tools do we use?
We use a lot of tools. Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
We use a lot of tools. Yep, that's that. Okay. So I'm sure you could remember this slide.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are a few of the tools that they use in project management that project manager can use. The project manager will always use Word document, PowerPoint, will always use Excel. A project manager will always use SharePoint for documentation, or they use Monday, Monday.com, they use Confluence, they use Smartsheet.
Okay, Jira.
Or they use Jira for documentation and all that. So it's all dependent on what exactly are you using within your organization. Okay.
Okay.
And the best you can do for yourself is to have knowledge of every, even if it's basic knowledge of every. And the moment you have basic knowledge of every, you can put all of that in your CV, that you've got basic knowledge of that, because trust me, we all learn tools on the job. Okay. So don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself whenever you're documenting your CV to say, you know what, I only know how to use SharePoint. No, just go on YouTube. Go on YouTube, just go and watch some 10-minute, 15-minute video on how to create folders and all that. That's the main thing. Just so that when you get in interview, they say, oh, do you know how to use Confluence? Yes, I know how to use Confluence for reporting and creation of and folder creation. That's it. The remaining, you will learn it on the job. Okay, one of the projects I delivered a portfolio process for an organization, and it was Smash. That was my first time of using Smartsheet, and I'm sure if it was Bolaji that was here, I had to reach out to Bolaji at some point and say, you know what, yeah, I'm going on this particular project to deliver stuff for them. Do you have anybody within Blue Sky Citadel that knows how to use Smartsheet? I couldn't get anybody, but you know what? I got on the job. All I was, my partner was YouTube. I was watching YouTube on one side and I was Smartsheet on the other side, just to make sure that I learn it. And now, you know what, there's nothing you can say about Smartsheet in just 1 month that I can't do on Smartsheet. Okay,
Wow.
we all learn on the job. There was a particular tool also I used to deploy a project for a company in Germany. It's called ClickUp. ClickUp,
Yeah,
never used ClickUp before. They invited me for an interview. They said they want to migrate all of their projects to ClickUp and all of that. Can you do that? I just said, yeah, before this meeting, I checked ClickUp, and ClickUp is not different from Smartsheet or MS Project at some point on Monday. So I said, that's going to be an easy task for me. And they said, all right, come on, go ahead. And I only used it for 5 weeks to deploy all of their tools. And there's nothing you can say about ClickUp that I don't know at the moment. You get, so it's all about how you can sell yourself. Like I said, it's just a basic knowledge. And the moment you are going for an interview, you will always see that you can ask the person that has gotten you the interview to say what tools are they using in that organization.
Okay.
Before you go for interview, just ask them what tools are they using within the organization. The recruiter will definitely go back and ask and come back and tell you if they really, if they are keen for that. Most organizations will come back and say, oh, in our organization, we use MS Project and SharePoint. And the moment they say that, just brace yourself up, just go on YouTube, just watch a couple of videos on that. And by the time you're speaking, speak like you've used it for more than 10 years.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions from anybody?
The last question was kind of pulling you back to what do you mean by work packages?
Yes, don't forget, as the work package, we've got something called WBS. It's called the work breakdown structure. And in the work breakdown structure is a kind of hierarchical decomposition of the work that needs to be done. Okay, like you can see the organogram I shared with you earlier on. Organogram is saying that's the boss. From the boss, you have another boss. From other boss, we have other bosses that are lower in ranking. Then after the other bosses, we have now the team members and all that. That is how you decompose a work that needs to be done. Your Office 365 project is a chunk of work that needs to be done. And you can now say, you know what, with this chunk of work, we can break it down to Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, and under Microsoft Word, we can say, you know what, design, build, and test. Okay, that Microsoft Word is a work package on its own. That means we've broken down the work that needs to be done into more manageable components. Now we can manage Microsoft Word properly then we can manage the whole Office 365. Does that make any sense? So we've broken them down into pieces of work, or pieces of bigger pieces of work as well, not just a piece of work to that extent. So with that, we can say, you know what, Office 365 is big, but let's break it down so that we can now cost how much it's going to cost us to deploy Microsoft Word, how much will it cost, how long will it cost us to do Microsoft Word deployment, what are the resources we need for Microsoft Word deployment compared to what are the resources we need for Office 365 deployment, how long will it take us to deploy Office 365. But the moment we break it down, we can now do a kind of bottom-up estimation and now get the actual time that it will actually take us to deploy the entire project itself. Okay? I see I have 2 hands up.
Thank you. I think the legacy, both Adeleke and myself.
Okay. Ask any other question from anybody? So on this particular project, I will try my best. PowerPoint, that's why I'm asking you to do your PowerPoint very well, to do your presentation, because I want to learn that on your project mandate and all that. I've seen some funny ones from people that are not aligned, they're not justified and all that. I will expect us to make sure that we know how to use MS Word properly. And we can even take it further for some to use Google Sheets and all that, because like I said, the project I went on for the portfolio process development, that was the first time I would be using Google Space. They threw me off, and they had a policy which were recording. I went against that policy though. The policy says, you know what, you mustn't download the document to work on, but you know what, Google Docs or Google Sheet and all that, they were giving me trouble. I will always download, work on the normal Microsoft, and re-upload it again, so that I don't keep on wasting my time and start learning anything. But at the end of the day, you know what, I just have to learn how to use Google Workspace as well, and it was quite easy. There were some Microsoft Excel formulas, you know, can't work in there. But like I said, just make YouTube your personal university. Instead of jumping from Mr. Macaroni to BrainJot and all of that, you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot from YouTube, and making sure that things are working well for you. You're learning things. Just one video per day keeps the recruiter happy with you. Yeah, free, exactly. YouTube Free University. I can tell you that all of the tools I've learned: Primavera, MS Project, Visio, Smartsheet, Clarity, PlanView, SharePoint, Jira, and not ClickUp and all that. I learned everything via YouTube. Everything via YouTube. That's it for me. YouTube is always my best partner every time. When I used to work in the city on the train every morning, I just download a video, watch it on the train while going, watch another one while coming back. And by the time I'm back home, I really want to try my hands on some of the things I've learned on my way. So please make YouTube your best. There are free materials everywhere on YouTube. Okay. All right, that's it for me today, and it's a good time. I'm giving everyone 1 minute back. Have a good night rest, and we'll see you next week, Thursday. So please don't forget, you've got project brief to develop. You've got lessons learned log to develop, and also you've got a RACI to develop for me on the Office 365 project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you so
Very much.